I haven't had any promotion, and I've been paid the same rate for my salary for more than a decade.
Working in this factory won't be good for anyone in the long term.
The ownership of Bawdwin mine in northern Shan state has changed hands many times over the years. But a joint venture formed after the military coup seems to be creating tensions and dissatisfaction among the workers. Hello and welcome to Do Athan, a weekly podcast that brings you human rights stories from Myanmar. It's brought to you by Fondation Hirondelle. This episode is produced with our media partner Shwe Phee Myay. Names and voices may have been changed to protect contributors. This horn has been heard in the hills of Namatu, northern Shan state, for over a century. It signals the beginning and the end of shifts for workers at the Bawdwin metal mine. The mine was established in the 1890s, and before World War II it was the world's largest source of lead. It's still a leading source of lead, along with silver and zinc. Many of the colonial-era buildings still stand, blackened and weather-beaten. But the lives and fortunes of the mine workers have changed significantly during this period. Go Kin has been working in this mine for over 30 years. When he started in the job, the mine was being run by the government. His starting salary was 625 chat a month.
I was happy in the workplace when I was a government employee. My salary was only 600 jats per month then. I was tired and poor, but I was healthy.
By 2010, Go Kin was making 190,000 chat per month. That was the year that private company Win Myint Mo took control of the mine. Win Myint Mo emerged from Asia World, a crony company which had senior employees subjected to US sanctions because of their alleged links to organised crime and dealings with the Myanmar military. Many workers at Bawdwin mine lost their jobs at this time, but Go Kin managed to stay on at the same salary. However, 13 years later, he's still on that salary, despite recent soaring inflation and commodity prices.
I haven't had any promotion, and I've been paid the same rate for my salary for more than a decade. In the current situation, I'm allowed to work an hour for overtime per day. I get 2,000 chats for 1 hour of overtime.
But he's in a better position than newcomers like Go Zo. He joined Win Myint Mo company last year, and he says he's being made to work 6 days a week.
Her Myanmar mines law mandates that a mine worker should not be assigned to work more than 40 hours per week. But the newly appointed workers were contracted by the company to work 48 hours, that is 6 days a week. They have 1 rest day per week or 4 rest days per month. It's different from the existing workers.
Another complaint of the workers is that there are no proper health facilities at Bawdwin. In 2012, not long after Win Myint Mo took over, there were strikes over conditions at the mine, including the lack of healthcare provision. The management then stationed a doctor on site, but that didn't last long. Now there's only a dispensary that can deal with minor cases such as colds and coughs. Mine workers have to travel elsewhere and pay to get better medical treatment. Mining is a dangerous business. Workplace injuries can happen with heavy equipment and tools. High levels of exposure to lead can result in headaches, hallucinations, and even kidney or brain damage. Silver mining can generate dust as well as toxic fumes and gases. Go Zo says that although they're provided with protective equipment, the quality is not good.
Acid is used during metal refining. At least 10 chemicals are used when the factory is in operation. Those chemicals and the odours can harm people. When we take off our masks, we find particles from the factory sticking to our noses and mouths. We use the gloves they give, but when we remove them, we find the smell and the particles sticking to our hands. Although they give us PPE, it's not reliable and safe. Working in this factory won't be good for anyone in the long term.
The mine is certainly making money, so it could be argued they could afford to improve pay, conditions and facilities for their workers. In 2018, an Australian company, Myanmar Metals, acquired a 51% stake in Bawdwin mine. And in February 2021, the Myanmar Alliance for Transparency and Accountability reported that the mine was projected to generate revenue of 2.9 billion Australian dollars by 2034. That report also highlighted that there would be production sharing and royalty payments to the government, which could amount to around 145 million Australian dollars a year. So the regime is also making money. But the workers are struggling. Even more so since Myanmar Metals sold off its shares after the military coup. There now appears to be a joint venture at the mine between Win Myint Mo and other companies. And this is where it gets murky. Reports at the time of the transfer only mention EAP Global Mining along with Win Myint Mo. Locals and mine workers say the main other companies involved are Cornerstone, a company from Pakant, and the Two Company. When Dato' Than called the Cornerstone office in Yangon, they denied having any involvement in the Bawdwin mine. And some mine workers suggest there are as many as 11 companies working under Win Myint Mo in, let's say, an unofficial capacity. The workers don't know the names of the companies, and Win Myint Mo has not responded to our calls. But there's clearly a lack of transparency over operations at the mine. And the influx of other companies has created tensions on site because other companies are reported to be bringing in their own staff and giving them better pay and conditions. Go Ongzor says they've even been given senior positions at the mine.
People are dissatisfied because of this discrimination. Her Bawdwin staff have more than 20 years of work experience, yet the company bosses have appointed newcomers to leading positions. Some of them don't even have 5 years of experience. They told us that we could leave the job if we couldn't work like this. The staff become too afraid to speak out.
Another problem since the coup is that there are very few people around to speak up for the workers anymore. The military regime has cracked down on labour activists. In 2012, when there were strikes at Bawdwin, local activists and even MPs got involved in negotiations to resolve the crisis. After the coup, they fled or went underground. We spoke to someone who is close to those working on labour issues there. He said there have been some positive changes recently, including some performance bonuses for Win Myint Mo staff. But he admits there's been no progress in 18 months on the main issue of different pay rates and perks for workers at the mine.
The current issue is the pay differences among the staff. We don't know how the benefits vary between the other companies and the parent company. We discussed this with the manager in March 2022. They were discussing it with the higher-ups, and we haven't got an answer yet.
It's clearly not a high priority for the management, but the situation leaves many workers feeling underpaid, undervalued, and basically struggling to survive. Go Mang Kin says he had to take out a huge loan for medical treatment for his wife.
Last December, my wife became very unwell. I couldn't pay for it with my current salary, so I borrowed money from the other people and paid for her treatment. Our family is not well-to-do. We are just making our ends meet.
Thanks for listening to this edition of Dato' Than. We'd welcome your feedback on social media. This project on human rights reporting is supported by Fondation Hirondelle with the help of our donors. You can listen to our podcast via the Dotathan Facebook page. They can also be found on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes and Spotify. You can also listen every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. and Sunday morning from 6 to 7 a.m. on Voice of America Radio. Please tune in again next week.